Just a few minutes ago, Russian and Ukrainian war correspondents reported that Russian troops went on the offensive in 5 directions at once, in the north of the Kharkiv region. According to the latest data, Russian troops have already managed to take full control of such border settlements as Gatyshche and Strelechye. At the same time, it is reported that these settlements were well fortified, and that several units of the armed forces of Ukraine were stationed there. War correspondents claim that under the onslaught of Russian troops, units of the Ukrainian army located in Gatyshche were forced to retreat to the neighboring city of Volchansk. It is reported that at the moment, the Russian army is fighting for such settlements as BORZZIKMAN, Gatyshche, and Volchansk. Ukrainian sources also confirmed the loss of the village of Strelechye by the Ukrainian armed forces. According to these sources, the Ukrainian army was forced to retreat from this village under the onslaught of Russian troops. At the same time, the Ukrainian side confirmed that the active offensive of the Russian army is still continuing in many places in the Kharkiv region, and that the attack of Russian troops is actively supported by combat army aviation and dozens of fighter jets of Russian aerospace forces. Against this background, the Ukrainian General Staff called on the authorities of the Sumy and Kharkiv to begin the evacuation of people from these regions of the country immediately. Sources in Kiev claim that the Ukrainian High Military Command fears that in the coming hours, Russian troops may introduce their main forces in the north of Ukraine and break through the defense of the Ukrainian armed forces in the Sumy and Kharkiv regions. At the same time, it is worth noting that against the background of the beginning of the offensive of the Russian army, Russian telegram channels and the Russian underground in Ukraine began to call on Ukrainian soldiers and officers to surrender and save their lives. According to them, the Ukrainian command is deceiving its soldiers, promising them aid that they will never receive. According to them, with these empty promises, the Ukrainian command forces Ukrainian soldiers and officers to stand to their deaths in the Kharkiv and Donetsk directions of the front. Meanwhile, Ukrainian telegram channels stated that despite the beginning of the offensive of Russian troops in the north of the Kharkiv region, the commander-in-chief of the armed forces of Ukraine, General Syrsky, hopes that the Russian army will not have enough resources and forces to reach the northern outskirts of the city of Kharkiv. My friends, if you ask me, I think that the offensive of the Russian army in the north of the Kharkiv region is still local in nature, since in order to capture such a large city as Kharkiv, Russian troops, first of all, need to cut the logistics supply chains of the grouping of the armed forces of Ukraine located in this city. And for this, it would be more logical to strike the main blow towards the Sumy region. Based on this, it can be assumed that today's offensive by the Russian army in the north of the Kharkiv region is of a local nature. Most likely, the main goal of the Russian army is to create a so-called sanitary zone that will protect the Kursk and Belgorod regions of the Russian Federation from attacks by Ukrainian militants. Moreover, by pushing Ukrainian militants away from the Russian borders, the Kiev regime will also lose the opportunity to shell Russian border towns and villages with the help of Western multiple-launch rocket systems.